there is somebody that is more powerful than Atiku when it comes to corrupting a generation before and a generation after him. Remember, in 2022-2023, who was it that was screaming this statement that Atiku has a tenacity, a propensity to corrupt a generation before him and a generation after him? Who was it? Yeah, you guessed it. Kenneth Okonkwo. But guess what? Was it Kenneth Okonkwo that originally coined that statement? Was it? No, it was not Kenneth Okonkwo. It was actually Olusegun Obasanjo in his book, My Watch. It was Obasanjo that wrote that statement. It was many things, but the one that we want to take out today is that Atiku has the propensity to corrupt a generation before him and a generation after him. But guess what? Today, I want to counter that narrative. Somebody else is more powerful than Atiku in that regard. And guess what? Or guess who that person is? Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Tinubu has a greater propensity to corrupt a generation before him and a generation after him. If not, explain this to me, or make it make sense to me why you will have a Daniel Bwala that spoke so heavily against him, but once Tinubu's hand touched him, Daniel became the direct opposite. Explain to me why a Festus Keyamo that fought Tinubu fiercely, but the moment Tinubu's hand touched him, Festus Keyamo started singing another song. The same thing with Reno Omokri. The same thing with this other one that is a former minister. So many of them. Guess what? You would think that by now that list would have ended. Nobody will be adding to the list. But no. There is a latest victim of the corruptive powers of Tinubu, and that victim is Taiwo Oyekele. Taiwo Oyekele is a brilliant chap, very smart, very sharp, brilliant technocrat. While he was in the private sector, fantastic guy. But guess what? Tinubu's hand has touched him, and he has started using his brilliance to serve Tinubu. And you know what we say. We will always continue to say it. There is no way you support Tinubu without making or without looking stupid. No way. No matter how intelligent you are. If I'm lying, ask Segun Showumi. The list goes on. Ayo Fayose is there. Fantastic people until they get a touch from Tinubu. What is the Minister of Finance saying now? He's hailing student loan. He's hailing subsidy removal. And they gave a very beautiful presentation and called it reform what now? Summit, or what is it? Guess what? In all that he said, which is said very, very calmly, the one that Nigerians need to take note of the most are two: the subsidy and student loan. A parent, right in that presentation, called his attention to the fact that student loan did not cover all the students. Guess what? He's stylishly trying to cast aspersion on the children of that man, forgetting that he himself had mentioned that only about 1.5 million students have been covered in the student loan. But guess what? It doesn't end there. Or does it really end there? Guess what? The question that he fails to answer, the information that Taiwo Oyekele fails to give, because he is only trying to please his master Tinubu, is that there are about 3 million to 3.5 million students in public universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education in Nigeria. Public. So if student loan has done 1.5 million, what does that tell you? That the coverage is only 50%. Only 50%. Did Taiwo Oyedele tell you that? He didn't, because he wants to give you half truth and half lies. Guess what? He goes on to say, oh, that the student loan gives stipends to students, and that there are random videos of students celebrating the receipt of those 20,000 monthly allowance. In fact, let me shock you. Do you know that in mentioning monthly allowance, Taiwo Oyedele did not mention that it is 20,000 naira? You think it is a mistake? It is not a mistake. It is deliberate, because if it comes out to say, oh, we are giving monthly stipend, in the minds of people it will appear as though they are giving them one big money that will take care of all their needs. But here's the truth. If you go and check, it is 20,000 naira per month. Now, question for Taiwo Oyedele and all the supporters of APC and Tinubu: what is it that 20,000 naira can do for a student in this Tinubu regime? What? 20,000 naira, can it take care of the data need for research purposes of a student? It would have been even beautiful if the 20,000 naira was paid when the cost of living has not been increased by the policies of the same APC. When the APC devalued the Naira, who do you think will suffer it? The students and their parents. When the same Tinubu and his APC increased the price of petrol, what do you think will happen? Cost of living will go up. Price of things will go up. Is that not what has happened? So, the 20,000 naira that Taiwo Oyedele is celebrating as an achievement, can it take care of the feeding of a student in a month? Because 20,000 naira comes down to 600 naira a day. What can 600 naira buy as food for a student in a day in Nigeria today, considering that the cost of electricity has gone up, the cost of transportation has gone up, the cost of accommodation has gone up, the cost of food has gone up? What? So you see that when Tinubu talks about the student loan, don't get me wrong, it is a beautiful idea. But as with all of Tinubu's policies, beautiful idea on paper, but corruption will not let the implementation rest. That is where the problem is. Now they tell you, oh, we give them allowances. Parents now no longer need to worry about money for their children to go to school. Is that true? Really? So even those 50% of students that are benefiting from the student loan, does it mean that because they are benefiting from the student loan, then the parents no longer need to spend any more money anymore for those children or those students to go to school? Is that true? Does the 20,000 naira, does it cover the accommodation of the student in school? Does it cover the health care needs of the student in school? Does it cover the feeding of the student in school? Does it cover the transportation of the student in school? Do the parents not still need to borrow money to pay for these things because the cost of these things have gone up? Let's call a spade and not a farm implement. The student loan is a good idea. We give that to Tinubu and the APC, but it is badly implemented, plagued with corruption, because it doesn't cover everybody. And the extra cost that parents need to now cater for has gone up because of the policies of Tinubu and the APC. So, verdict: if APC and Taiwo Oyedele can come out clean before Nigerians, they will see that really the student loan is not something they should be celebrating. It is something they should hide their face in shame and not even bother to mention. But guess what? There is a way forward. If we take away the corruption in the Tinubu administration, a lot of corruption going on in there. Monies that are meant to be given to the people are not given to them. If we take away that corruption, then the monies will be free to be spent on education, and cost of things can come down so that parents do not even need the loan in the first place. There will be jobs so they can fund their children. the person who can take away the corruption, who do you think that person is? Out of the three of them, Peter Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku, who do you think can take away the corruption in the system so that these monies will not be looted anymore? They will be used for public good. Who do you think? So if you're a student or you're a parent, is the student loan enough for you to say Tinubu deserves a second term, or is it enough for you to say let's kick them out? And if you want to kick them out, Vote Watch is your shortest path. 2027 is around the corner. Get your PVC ready. Let's take back our country.